it because you need a title, and I'd like to talk a little bit about this Royal Pop, and see get everyone else's thoughts. I can share mine and tell you about the state of the collection. I don't know if I'll do it in reverse order, but it's pretty straightforward. But let's get to the chat and welcome folks who had no advance warning of the show. And by the way, Tan, I will get to this. El Capitan, yes. Well, Tan's more than welcome to pop on as well. I haven't spoken to him in a while. Thanks, Mobster. Appreciate you and everyone else in the chat. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends about it. Can you play some Biggie Smalls or something? Yeah, I should. You know, I was listening to the other day. It's interesting because Keslow did an Instagram post where he had a Nas song that I never heard of before. And so that's been on my playlist in my car. So, and then I asked Keslow in the same chat, in the same Instagram post, what was the song when he fell off his mountain bike, because it was really cool. He forgot, but I remember when I listened to that song, I was able to type the lyrics, get the name of the song, and it was really good. So shout out to Keslow. If you're watching in the universe here, shout out to Keslow. He is the man, and he plays cool music. And that's important, especially when you're posting something. So I'll take that on the Biggie Smalls, no problem at all. Love that stuff. Fugees, any rap music. I used to listen to a lot of rap. We do not discriminate. But again, I like the somber stuff too. It kind of sets the tone for the show and guarantees that Mr. GMT will have to strike that piece of music. Otherwise, the whole stream is going to be taken down immediately, which that's okay as well. These are all me because I go under Mr. GMT's banner. Let's see if we have anyone else in here. Looks like so far, no. You're going to scare away the action figure collectors. That's true. Maybe we should do the theme from Superman or something. Or play what was the music? Who did the music in the Batman trilogy with Chris Nolan? That stuff is really good. Now it's gonna bother me. All right, so waiting for people to possibly pop into the chat. This goes out to GMT's crowd, and of course, Labor Day is Memorial Day. What am I saying? Labor Day. I don't want to skip ahead. This is the unofficial but official start of summer in the United States. The weather is warming up. It was hot and it was actually humid earlier, and I had to drop a special friend at the airport this morning after breakfast. And they are heading off to Alaska for 2 weeks. So that was earlier in the day, and hopefully they'll have an amazing trip, and I'll be hearing all about it. I wish I was going, but I am not. I am here talking to you guys, and then tomorrow I am working. Mr. JMC's statue videos are amongst YouTube's finest. You know, I have to tell you, Tan, it is an insane video. When I tell people about that, anyone I know, work colleagues, folks that I know, when I explain his collection and the fact that, of what he has in the figurines or statues, whatever we're calling them, I show them that video and they're disturbed and bothered by it, but it explains collecting. I'm like, oh, you think I have a lot of watches or a lot of, whatever else I have, mostly watches. You should see this guy. I got some comic books. I dabble in collecting and then, buy some things here and there, including those toys. What are those plastic toys that I have? Fool's Paradise. Yeah, I got a few of those. I was looking to add to those because it looks like they found some in the archives. But I've held back. I've held back buying more. I have 3. I think I have the Paul Newman, I have the Submariner guy, and I have where's the other guy? The one I have back there is the Snoopy, the Moon guy, the Moon Watch. I have the Speedy character. Hot Watcher, thanks for joining. They are not worth the money. AP Swatch vomit face. Well, we're gonna get to that. We are gonna get to that. I think I should probably lead with that. Don't bury the lead. I think we should lead with that to drive audience attention, drive, the numbers. We got to pump up the numbers. Those are rookie numbers. Hopefully my sound is good. Yeah, again, open panel. Anyone wants to join? Most people won't, because there's not a lot of folks watching. Tan the man. I've been picking up a lot of original comic art lately. Yeah, I noticed that in your IG that you're kind of really focusing on the comic world. I got a bunch of pages from Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, I love Spidey. Amazing Spider-Man, childhood hero growing up. Love Spider-Man. Peter Parker. Something about him, I guess, identifies with when you're growing up, and the fact that he's kind of this nerdy guy and gets beat up in class or whatever. And who is his I guess who he wants to be his girlfriend. What's her name? Put it in the chat. My memory's going. But then he has these superpowers because he gets bitten by a spider, and I like the engineering that he does too. So he uses his mind, just like Bruce Wayne, to make him even, make those powers even stronger. So there's kind of a human element. Superman is just Superman, but these other guys have to use their own, intelligence to maximize their powers. And Bruce Wayne's case, he doesn't have any supernatural powers, so that's all on him. Where's the reverso too in I think the Chris Nolan trilogy, which makes sense, right? The Two Faces, even though he's not Two-Face. Detective Comics and a cover from G.I. Joe. Yeah, never got into the G.I. Joe stuff, but that was big back in the day. Everything's collectible. I mean, we could do a whole show on collectibles because the world's gone mad. I mean, Pokemon cards are making millionaires, or even, more than that, decamillionaires with Pokemon cards. I mean, where does it end? I mean, I know folks that I'm friends with who are big baseball card collectors. I mean, that kind of makes sense because I guess there's nostalgia there, and these are real players. And the Pokemon thing, I mean, is it more like a Beanie Baby fad, or is there something more to it? Is it more artistic, like art? But if they make a lot of them, I just don't know. I don't know what to make of it all. And then there's all the Kalshi betting sites and probability sites. I saw Coinbase the other day now is taking probability odds. So I guess if crypto is slow, crypto trading, they're expanding as well. And is it gambling? Is it not gambling? Nothing is gambling, but yet everything seems to be gambling. I don't know how that's going to play out. I guess we'll let the legal folks decide that, because I'm sure that lawsuits will be flying fast and furious as people, either win or more likely lose on these bets and they go broke. So gamble responsibly, like drink responsibly. I mean, you can gamble on anything. You can gamble during a halftime of a show, of a game, or even the third quarter. The odds change. Howdy, Cap. So Vimal, hey, welcome, Vimal. Howdy, Cap. Did you catch how all the gray market YouTubers are now pimping the royal pop? Yes, we're gonna get to that. So I should shut up and just start, getting into. I have 2 videos, but that's always somewhat boring to watch other people talk, and then I think people lose interest. But I kind of wanted to tee it up a little bit and get someone's thoughts. Teddy Baldassar or his channel did something on the Swatch release, and then Roman Sharf put out I guess his take on it. And I'm not sure if it was pre or post riots. Mobster, the pre-technology items will never be made again. That is true. But I'm not sure exactly, which ones he's referring to. So let me know. Pokemon, like Magic, is the game. So it's anchored to the game's revelation. Okay. I mean, that makes sense, but I mean, there's a lot of games too. Magic, I don't know if they've caught on and become collectible, and how far that market can go. I mean, watches, you can argue has technology, it has art elements to it. It's kind of a store of value. So I could see that. And I guess I just don't know enough about the Pokemon world, but does it pop at some point? I'm sure if it's gone to stratosphere levels, it'll come back. But you know, to normalcy. Everything reverts kind of to the mean after these parabolic moves. You know, but where does it go? You know, where is it in 5 years, 10 years? And maybe it's a mature market at that point. Maybe it's a mature market now. The digitalization of things makes analog rare. That's true. Yes, analog. You could talk about analog Porsche instrument clusters. And by the way, I almost traded my Porsche this weekend. I must have been bored because I was shopping for a car on Carvana, and that ended in everything was going so smooth, and then some other power intervened because there was a problem with the car when they were delivering it. Supposed to deliver it Saturday and pick my car up as a trade. And so I have a 997.1. This was going to be a 991.1 with the PDK transmission. Beautiful blue, not a convertible. You know, not a manual, but it was also not a convertible. And I was going to go with the base model, which is cheaper, understood. And the base horsepower, base torque, like 350 horsepower. So it wasn't up there. It wasn't even an S. And I have an S now. So that deal, they sent me an odometer picture or the instrument cluster, and it was reading oil level too high, do not drive this car. And so this was literally like 30 minutes. I'm waiting for the window. I had a window between 3 and 6 o'clock, and it was like 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And they were going to deliver this car, and I'm like, something's got to go wrong. This is happening all too quick. I basically purchased the car on Carvana like on a Friday, and this is Memorial Day weekend. I signed all sorts of paperwork online. I had a digital notary in Virginia notarize some signature, you know, wires, trades, all this stuff was set up quickly. And then they showed me the odometer saying, or I'm sorry, the instrument cluster saying it had a service light came on or whatever, a service message. And whether it was a fault or not, I don't know. And it said oil level too high, do not drive this car. So it just raised, and the service history on this car was impeccable. It was serviced in Connecticut. Porsche had pretty high miles, but like 2 owners, which isn't terrible, for 2014. And all the Porsche service history in Connecticut was consistent. So I was like, this is good. Everything is, you know, this should be a pretty well-maintained vehicle. The pictures all looked really, really mint. They do a 150-point inspection. You know, it's not a third party it's not a what is that, a PIP, I think, personal inspection, something like that, PIP, which I've had before in my car. PPP, no, that's not a PPP. You know, you guys know, if you know how this works. PIP, I think it's called pre-inspection something. Anyway, bottom line, I got this picture, and then they called me up. I said, I need to speak to the manager because I don't know how this happens. Did they put too much oil in? Did they use the wrong oil? Now it raises all sorts of red flags. And I'm like, why would I get rid of my car, which I just had serviced? And I had 4 new tires put on like a year and a half ago. And I don't put a PPI. There you go. Sorry. Pre-purchase inspection. Thanks, Basils. We'll get to you. I haven't gotten through the rest of the chat. Yeah, PPI. See, I said PIP. So I was close. I had the letters right. Just the wrong order. Yeah, I had a PPI done for the car I have now. But my car is running pristine. So I'm like, why would I trade my car, which is perfect, for a car, for your car, where I'm going to be out another, I don't know, 30-something thousand dollars, right? And the crazy thing is I had to move money to like cover the account. It was weird that they actually approved the funding because the funding wasn't even there yet. So I'm like, okay, I'll take the car and you guys will have to trust me that the money will be there eventually. So they were going to let that go and then deliver me a car that had the light on. I said, nope, I killed it. So they called me back and they said, well, you can either have our mechanic look at it. I'm like, who is it? Is it at Porsche? Who's your mechanic? And I just didn't know. They apologized. They don't know how it happened. So I'm like, some third party mechanic or whatever decided on its own, or his or her own, to put some sort of oil, I don't know if it's the approved oil or not, into my car, into this car. And I don't know if they ruined it. I'm not going to say they did, because after I canceled, it went right back up on the site, which is ridiculous because they can't do anything about it. So they were nice about it, and I canceled the whole deal. And thankfully, the woman who was going to deliver the car, who was not like proficient in any of this, she barely knew, it was some sort of like, she couldn't even explain the issue, but sent me the photo to her credit. So I appreciate that. And, I don't blame the service people when they call me. I don't want to get too angry or mad at them, but I'm angry at the issue. Like, how does this happen? Because they're just kind of doing their jobs, but it's frustrating. So they allowed me to kill it, and they totally understood. So I'm way off topic. Crashing the Habs game, Cap. Sorry about that, man. You can go both. You can multitask, McLovin. How are you, McLovin? Thank you for jumping on. Habs Canes. I think the Knicks game is on. Who knows if I don't know if anyone's streaming. What's up, Swiss? There's my main man, Swiss. What's up, Peruka? Would love to go to Geneva Watch Days. It may happen. Who knows? Then we'll stay in Old Town? That would be a lot of fun, and we'll hang out again. Basil's Bezels. So thanks for showing up. Basil's Bezels, PPI. Yep, you guys. I know PPIs, guys. I just have a brain fart, not pimp. Pimping ain't easy. All right, shit. I'm almost caught up. That's not good. CPO Porsche only. I mean, well, you're gonna pay for that. You will pay for CPO Porsche only. I didn't do that in the one I have now, which is the only Porsche I ever bought. And I did buy from like a reputable, I guess, Pennsylvania place, this PA Auto Spa or something like that. And then I just bring it to Porsche and have them do a full service. But you're right. And I had a PPI on that. But Carvana puts all these cars up and they fly. I mean, literally, I've tried to buy this car once. Didn't get through the whole process because I was doing a trade and they had all these questions and information. And then I had to run out. So I ran out of time after like 20 minutes on this, or 30. And then it was gone. It was in someone else's cart. And that deal didn't go through because they give you like 20 or 25 minutes to complete it. And then I did it and completed it. So I would have had a 991.1 2014 in blue base Carrera, which I wanted the S, but hey, I'm like, I'm going to go base just to get this done and pull the trigger. And so the moral of this long-winded story is pull the trigger. Because I've been looking at this stuff and you guys are the same. You guys are collectors, enthusiasts, have a lot of different things. And I don't know if your methodology is the same as mine, but when you have something in your head, it could be months or even a year or 2 years, multiple years. And then it comes time to pull the trigger at some point. And so I literally pulled the trigger, and then I got rug pulled 30 minutes before delivery. I mean, I literally took everything out of my car, which was a pain in the ass, making sure everything's out. I had the title, everything ready to go. And I felt they gave me a pretty fair deal for the trade. Probably could have gotten more, but I was ready to do it because you save money on the taxes too. Because they deduct your trade from the purchase price, and then you're paying state tax on the difference. Anyway, McLovin, good point. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe that is the answer. And the real answer is just buyer beware. Just be careful, I guess. Things are not, if they're too easy, my view is expect the unexpected in everything. You never know what could happen, and just be ready for that. Basil's 2-1 Canes. All right. Thanks for the update. Bring a trailer. Yeah. Well, thought about that too, but I think that's harder to buy, right? On Bring a Trailer. And I also went on Doug DeMuro's site a few times, Cars and Bids, and I lost out in an auction for an Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, which is an insane car, but it's like a crossover SUV, a smaller SUV. Those cars, I think, will totally be collectible, but everybody I speak to says you see more Alfa Romeos on the side of the road than on the road or in the shop. I don't know how true that is. I know that's the reputation. I don't think they're going to make. They're not making yeah, it's the Stelvio, because the Giulia is the sedan, also an insane car. I mean, these things have 545 horsepower, and the prices, they're not crazy at all in that class. They're very consistent with Mercedes, Beamer, the M cars, or the light M car light. So yeah, bring a trailer. Definitely heard about, and a lot of folks buy those. And Porsches are just keep going up. They're like Pokemon cards. Like the 996, the 996 is getting hot. Nobody wanted it because of fried egg headlights. Now everyone's like, oh, that's a diamond in the rough, even though it's the first water cooled Porsche. People want the 996 now because that's the value play. Then there's the 997 version 1, version 2. Then you go to the 991. Doug DeMuro says that he believes in 991 because it's more modern and you lose hydraulic steering because they put in what is it, electric steering. I think that's what it is, right? You lose hydraulic steering. And so that's kind of a big issue for folks. And you lose the analog instrument cluster, except for, I think some of it's analog and there's one digital cluster. But anyhow, it just loses that analog feel that the older Porsche has, the 996 and the 997. Test drive, not that I'm aware of. No, it's all like online bidding, not even bidding, online purchasing. People just click, 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 click. Because you go on there and they're all purchased. They're all purchased. There's a few that aren't, and if you don't move quick, they'll be gone over the weekend. So not that I'm aware of, but again, I didn't do a test drive. I don't know how you would, because the cars are scattered throughout the country or in these vending machines. They're like, used to be able to buy a pack of gum. Now you could buy a car. Fix it again, Tony, when it comes to quality. Vimal. Yeah, I know. That's the reputation. I avoided it. They're just very pretty cars, and they got tremendous, I think they're a Ferrari or former Ferrari engineer, or it's derived from a Ferrari engine. I'm not saying it's a Ferrari engine, but there's some connection to Ferrari there with the engine that car uses, the Quadrifoglio. Boring, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a Porsche guy. I like Porsche. I like Porsches. So where else are you gonna go? I gotta show you guys on this note. Hold on one sec. Yeah, we'll get to the Royal Pop. I'm sorry, guys. This is, how many minutes have we been going? 30 minutes, and I haven't spoken about this thing. There's someone gave me this. It's signed. It's not a big deal. It's just something cool, and I thought about framing it. I think this guy, 38 seconds isn't a lot. It's everything. Jeff Zwart, Porsche Motorsport North America, takes first. Blah, but this is in 2010. He had GT3 Cup car, shattered the previous record by 38 seconds. So this is like, what can you do in 14 seconds, like on the Moonwatch, the Omega Speedy? This talks about 38 seconds. So they kind of stole the idea or borrowed the idea. It's upside down for me, but cool looking car. I think that's, frameable. Wouldn't spend too much money on it. Peruka, Car Talk. No, we're going to move off that. Newish MB, twin turbo. Yeah, the turbos. That's another thing. Yeah, turbos came in. No, I think Porsche, you can get great value there. And you won't kind of lose money if you buy right. I mean, you'll still spend money on insurance and things like that. So ultimately you lose money because when you service these cars, it adds up quickly. But enough about that. So what happened to my collection? Well, you guys may or may not know. Pepsi is gone. Sold that to Marco at Bourdain's. Smooth transaction. I have the Coke, the Neo Vintage Coke on Jubilee. Peruka, Swiss, you saw that. And hope everyone is well, by the way. So that's gone. I have the Coke. I have the Jubilee bracelet on it now. New old stock. I have the Oyster bracelet. I can get a Pepsi bezel. It just made sense. And it wasn't because I was thinking about selling it even before discontinued, after discontinued. The price didn't even matter. I got a pretty good deal. I got what it is. It is what it is, no more, no less. I did not get 30,000, not even close. So I don't think, unless you have a last year, like a 2025, or maybe they made some in 2026, even though they discontinued it this year. It's not new old stock. Those are the ones that command the most premium. And then every year below that, they cut like 1,000 off, 1,000 off, 1,000 off. So, if you have a 2018, 2019, 2021, mine was 2021. There also was like a little ding on the case. But Marco didn't hit me for that. So that one's gone. And then I got rid of the 16600, both Rolex. Got rid of the Sea Dweller. The Sea Dweller, gone. Great watch. I loved it. Very cool to have. But again, some things must go. Patek, was a big purchase. So I kind of recouped and consolidating the collection. Just consolidating, seeing what's going to happen next. I want to get rid of the Omega Speedmaster. I'll put it out there. I got the Tokyo 2020. It is available. Let's make a deal. Otherwise, I'm going to put it on some sort of auction site. I just feel like I have to free space, give me clarity to think of the next move and be in a position to add. So I'm getting under 10 now. And again, it depends on what you count and what you don't. So like the Hermes H08 does not count in the core collection. That's just my personal choice. It does not count. I could almost retire the first sub that I have and not include that, but I'm including it in the core collection. So I am at, I think my number right now is 10, not counting the H08. And get rid of the Omega Speedy. That's 9. I'd be down to 9. And then I kept the root beer. I kept the root beer over the Pepsi. The reason I did that was because I like the root beer a lot. I wear it, and obviously I had the Coke, and it's a AD purchase, and so I tend to keep those. Just like this. This is an AD purchase. My beige OP. Great watch for summer too. I'd love to dial swap this thing and like put the mint on it, or maybe, I know they have the lavender. I'm still hunting the lavender, trying to get the lavender 34 for my AD. Not for me, obviously. I'll leave it to you guys to figure out who that's for. That would be a pretty big gift at this point. But it's a cool watch. Okay, let's see. 718 GTS or GT4. Well, that's the what? The Boxster, the Cayman or the Boxster. Is that a GT4? That's not a 911 Carrera, right? The GT4 is also like the Boxster. Great engines. Mid engines, right? They handle better than 911, but it's not a 911. So I'm only going to have one. So, unless somebody can sell me, which they can't, Lambo Tan, a Lamborghini or a Ferrari for the price that you're paying for a Porsche, I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, McLovin, you're not wrong. Well, you could sell Rolex as pre-owned. I mean, what's the difference? I could buy it back. You know what I'm really hunting on Rolex for that Pepsi? And it pisses me off that I didn't do this when I got the cookie, because I was on that gold roll. Marco at Bourdain's, shout out to Bourdain's, not a show sponsor because we don't have any sponsors. That watch, the white gold black dial, that is the Pepsi that I wanted. And I wanted that before they discontinued it. And Marco had one for 28,000. And at that time, I'm like, this is a screaming buy right now to get all gold. And Christian from Theo Harris and Harris got that watch a while ago. Special watch for him. And I love the stealthiness. I agree with everything he said. And I'm also an Oyster Bracelet guy at the end of the day. Even though I have the Coke on Jubilee, which I like, for some reason with that Pepsi, I like the Jubilee. And everyone in the, you know, broader watch community and in the, in our watch community always says you have to have it on Jubilee. Um, and that's the one that fetches a little bit more of a premium. I like the Oyster. It's a tool watch. I like the Oyster. I like the Jubilee too, but I think the Oyster looks great on that watch. I really do. So that's one I would hunt, but now that's like 40 something thousand. See what happens? You don't pull the trigger at 28. Now it's at 42. And there was rumors of discontinuing the Pepsi for years. So you could see this, the Meteorite Pepsi, JJ had it, discontinued, goes up. I don't know if we're going to see white gold, black dial Pepsis go down. I don't think we'll see them back at 28 or under 30 anytime soon. Maybe 35. I don't know. But McLovin, I still have, don't worry, my core collection is Rolex. It will always be. I got 6 because I get worried when the number goes too low. I'm like, oh, I need more Rolex because that is the foundation of my collection anyway. Commitment watch. That's a good one, Vimal. You could say that. You could say something like that. How about I should be committed watch? That makes more sense. Tea and Tickers. No, Tea and Tickers would be getting the Christian Ward. That's what Tea and Tickers is going to get. Or I'll get him the Tea and Tickers should get the Tudor FXD. The FXD, which I like. Shout out to Tea and Tickers. Big fan of Tea and Tickers. Love Tea and Tickers. Would have been nice if he went to Watches and Wonders. I don't know if he's been. Maybe he has. I know he goes to some of the London shows a lot. He goes to a lot of the London shows. But no, he's not getting anything. Not getting anything from me. Yeah, the Boxster. Yep. Porsche Boxster. Yeah, again, great cars. They look good too. Sportier. Yeah, they're very sporty. So let me see. I'm gonna go. Let's do a video here. What do I have? Let's do Roman Scharf. Let's do Roman's video, and I'll pause it along the way. Fair use. This is fair use. He always has a lot of interesting things to say. So let's talk about his view of the Royal Pop and get into it. Give me 1 second to share this screen. I think it's this one, right? Yes. Okay. So let's see. What was the day he did this one? This was 10 days ago. All right, it's only 4 minutes. We have 4 minutes to kill, right? I think we do. So let's just go through the 4 minutes, listen to what he has to say. Again, this is before the royal fiasco, which is what I'm calling it. Let's go. Ready?
The single most viral watch story of 2026 is, you guessed it, the Swatch Royal Pop collaboration with Audemars Piguet. Hundreds of AI images flooded social media prior to the release, building insane hype online. Half of the internet calls it a disappointment, while the other half calls it a genius marketing play. Let's talk about it. First, let's talk about what it is. This is a series of pocket watches based on classic silhouette of the AP Royal Oak. It comes in 8 colorways and 2 styles: the Pin, crown at 12, and Sauvignon, which is crown at 3 o'clock. Now, the watches use the same bioceramic material as their Moon Swatch collaboration, but this time they upgraded from a synthetic crystal to a sapphire crystal. Retails $400 and $420. You cannot buy the Royal Oak Pop online, at least for now, I think. They're only available in stores at select Swatch boutiques, limiting 1 purchase per customer.
Okay, let's pause it there. Again, fair use. So he's talking about the release. The 6 is the Lapine, and then the 2 is the other one that he said in terms of the pocket watch style. And obviously the 2 that have the crown at the 3 o'clock were coveted, or are going to be coveted, or are coveted because of the ease of putting in a third-party case. And it will look like a traditional wristwatch. You have the 3 o'clock crown as opposed to some sort of cutout in a bracelet for watches that have the 12 o'clock crown. 8 colorways. We've all seen it. We know what it is. It's the biggest thing that's happened to the watch market this year, outside of Watches and Wonders, of course. Shout out to Watches and Wonders. I will see everyone, or hopefully a lot of you, there next year. What's this? Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to post the link again. Let's see if we can. Let me copy and post the link for folks. And if anyone's brave enough to come on, nobody's watching, guys. If you really want to get your feet wet on a stream, this is it. This is the one to do it. So yeah, I mean, that's basically it, right? The 8 colorways, we'll get to those. I have another article to pull up. You know, and let's go back to Roman and get his thoughts.
An estimate of only 100 watches available per store. If you're in the tri-state area, 2 of these locations are right in Manhattan, and another one is right down the road at the King of Prussia Mall here in Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes away from our office. Look, this is the first time AP has ever licensed their Royal Oak silhouette outside of their own production, making this the most accessible Royal Oak design to date. Now, you guys know it's no secret.
By the way, those stores were closed on the day of the release because of rioting, looting, and hoodlums trying to flip the watches. So King of Prussia, I knew people who were going to go there, and they aborted the mission early on when they got the news, when Swatch put out the press release, or that the King of Prussia Mall that store was closed. New York obviously closed. We saw, I don't know if it was in Chicago, pepper spray, riots, chaos, standoffs with mall cops versus versus the crowd, the mob, if you will, the mob, folks trying to cut the line. This happened, by the way, in the Omega Moon Swatch release. In London, there was line cutters and people waited online for 4 hours, mobs rushing the door. However, that being said, the show went on in the Omega, and that was even bigger, I think, when they did that release, because the crowds were gigantic. If you remember the crowds outside of London, that's the one where T.N. Tickers he got trampled by an angry mob, I think. That was ugly. Tickers, thank God he survived. I could see him grabbing a moon swatch or something, saying, "I got it," or "You guys get the fuck off of me." Anyway, thank God T and Tickers survived and got out alive. But the show went on. They sold a lot of watches that day. They sold out. And we're going to get to that because I want to know. I'm putting it to you guys. I have yet to hear, how are these watches getting into people's hands for the stores that were closed? Are people dropping in and able to get them now? Or are they coming up with something new? So that's what I want to know. Where are the watches? Where are the watches? I have not heard of Swatch putting out a release on the next. Is it a lottery system coming out? Are they dribbling these things out if some rando comes in? Or do they all go out the back door to Swatch employee friends and family and folks that have the inside track to sell the first batch? Are we already on the second batch, or do they still have the ones from the first batch, the first run that were in their stores? Now Roman says there were only 100 per store. That's pretty easy to get those dispersed, I guess, quickly into the hands of, again, friends, family, insiders. Who knows what is going on? I think the watch public and the broader public, we demand an answer and we deserve to know. Back to Roman.
I'm a big fan of Audemars Piguet. It is my favorite brand. So my emotions are very, very mixed right now. Kind of like your mother-in-law driving off a cliff in a brand new Ferrari. Design, it's a Royal Oak. No question about it. Why is it a pocket watch? If you're going to do that, make it wearable on the wrist. Wearing it around your necklace, you Flavor Flav, what are you doing? In my mind, in my opinion, I think they're going to make millions of them over the years, and they're going to make a lot of money on them. A million of those things at $400, that's $400 million.
Okay, let's stop right there. Yeah, I agree. They're going to pump the Swatch. I've said this before. This is not breaking any news here. This is a total gigantic win for Swatch, other than the riots, of course, and the shutdown of the stores. Because as you could see that number, and I don't know if that's, if it's true, because 6 of them are selling for $400 a pop. a royal pop, and two of them are selling for $420. So the math is close. About 400 million if they sold 1 million watches, Swatch watches, royal pops. I don't know the numbers for the Speedmaster, what the totals were, but the profits and revenues of Swatch vaulted Swatch into the higher tier of that Morgan Stanley report. I remember one year, like 2 or 3 years ago, when when was that released? 21 or 22, where they jumped 4 or 5 rungs. So gigantic win for Swatch if they can get these watches sold. Amazing. AP, on the other hand, they're going to donate, what they said was all of the profits that AP receives is going to watchmaking education. So that's a little known fact. So you can't say that AP is doing a money grab here if you believe what they're saying in their press release, that all of the 100% of the proceeds are going to watchmaking or watchmaking education. Now, how that money gets funded and through what channels, I don't know. Cynics will say, oh, that's going to make its way back to AP, or who knows what affiliation they have. But if you take them at their word, at least what they wrote, that money is not going to, let's say, the AP family that owns AP. That money is going to go back into watchmaking now. And again, maybe they have more details as to what academy it's going to. I think they do. So for them, it's not a money grab at all. Out of that 400 million in revenue and whatever the profit margin is, let's cut it in half. Let's say it's 60% goes to Swatch AP. Well, let's make the math easier for me. That would be what, $240 million. Whatever the number is, it's astronomical in terms of added revenues, added profits to the company. Taking out gross margins and costs and things like that. So they need to get these watches out into the public. They need to do that fast before all of the momentum fades, in my opinion. And I don't know what is going on. I want one. From AP's perspective, and we'll get back to Roman in a second. Okay, you have 1 million watches in the hands of new, and let's say the flippers are now gone. They're still involved here, but ultimately these watches will get in the hands of the public, general public. And now they all have an AP. And does that help or hurt AP's brand? Yes, it gets their name widely known as a brand. AP this, AP that. Everyone will know AP as a brand. But what kind of a brand are they after that? They're not in the exclusivity of Patek Philippe, which doesn't have an AP Audemars Piguet Swatch collab watch, and they never will. Most likely. Same thing with Vacheron. So AP is broadening its base, and I can't say that they're helping cultivate future AP collectors. I don't think that AP's board is hoping that some of these Swatch collectors 10, 20, 30 years down the road are primed to get Royal Oaks. I just don't think they're looking that far into the future. What I can say is, and this is a bold take here, is that when AP and Gerald Genta and the Royal Oak was created and came out in 1972 because of the quartz crisis, AP was credited with saving the watch industry. Now, we don't have a crystal ball and we can't go back in time. And so if that watch never came out, the Royal Oak that is, and then followed by the Nautilus with the other Genta design in 76, what would happen to the watch industry? Because there was the quartz crisis and all these quartz watches being sold. What would happen to the watch industry if the Royal Oak never came out? Would it actually completely collapse and mechanical watches would no longer be what they are today? Would Rolex fold its tent and go home? Would Omega, JLC, Cartier, all these brands, are we to believe that that would happen? I don't think that would happen. Secondly, how many Royal Oaks did they sell to save the watch industry? So, that's kind of taken as a given that it saved the watch industry. But they're trying to do it again. They can take the position that, hey, we saved it once with the Royal Oak. Now with the Royal Oak Pop and introducing the Swatch Royal Oak to millions of people, we're doing it again. We're saving the watch industry, and we're donating 100% of our profits to watchmaking. So that's a really good narrative for them. The problem is, I know collectors that may not want to add to their current Royal Oak collection, or two, not only do they may not want to add to their collection, if they own 10 or 12 Oaks, or these mega collectors that own, all the different variations of the Royal Oak, maybe other APs in the other model lineup, in the past, maybe they own a bunch of concepts, Royal Oak concept watches. Are they going to sell some watches in their collection? And I know that some dealers have fielded calls from these people because they've reported on it or they've disclosed it, that there were collectors and are collectors that are done with the brand. They feel that there's been brand dilution and it's just tainted the brand. Like, you want exclusivity, you're selling exclusivity. And I guess it's, in a way, you don't want to have your product sold to, even if it's a pocket watch made of bioceramic and it's not the real thing, your name is on the product. It's Swatch, Audemars Piguet. It's all over. It's on the watch. AP is on the watch itself. Audemars Piguet is in the promotional materials, in the packaging and the boxing. So, it is what it is. So basically, they can take the position, hey, we're saving the watch industry because we are we are getting enthusiasts involved, getting young people who wear smartwatches and smart technology and tracking devices to wear these watches and identify with, the feel of a mechanical watch, right? Which is the new System 51 they put in there. So they could take that position, but I just don't know. We'll see how this plays out in the next couple of years as to whether AP's reputation has suffered damage in the horology space and in the views and minds of the collecting community, of which we are a part. So we can sway that or influence that public opinion. This is the court of public opinion. Nobody has a definitive answer, and they don't know, and we won't know for several years down the road. That's my opinion on that. That anyone could say whatever they want today, but we need to see how this plays out over multiple years. And if the brand's reputation goes the way of, Hublot's reputation, or if it elevates or stays where it is, firmly entrenched in the Holy Trinity. Another point on my mind was, instead of not wasting their time, but spending their resources and energies on these efforts, which again, they're doing a Royal Pop, which is the Royal Oak, K-shape and design. Why not focus your attention and efforts on making additional models, adding to your model lineup to replace the ones that you killed off? You have the Code 1159. They came out with the Neo frame, but that's a limited production watch, and it's not. I don't think it's their best. I don't know if everyone is going gaga over that watch. But by doing this, it's almost like admitting defeat. I mean, they basically, but they're not getting profits from it. So it leaves me a little bit curious about that. The biggest saving grace they had is not getting profits from this. That, to me, is critical in them saving their brand, and shows that they have thought this through, which I'm sure they have, and they feel that the benefits outweigh the downside. For Swatch, I see no downside whatsoever. It's a master play for them. And they just need to sell these pieces and get them out into the public.
Cost of producing them is less than $100. Trust me when I tell you. It's a big cash grab. Still not sure for whom. I don't know who gets the bigger chunk here, Swatch or AP. It's fair to note that Moon's watch significantly boosted the popularity of the Speedmaster by a huge proportion on the secondary market following its release. True story. I have the numbers to back it up. Royal Oak, I don't think that's going to have the same effect because A, you can't get Royal Oaks. B, most of them trade over list. C, the Swatch Royal Oak, if anything, will piss off existing royal collectors that are out there paying 30, 40, 50, $100,000 per watch. And now all of a sudden there's this cheaper version. Yeah, like what's next? Every brand is going to follow suit. It's like making legitimate fake watches with the storm of AI mock-ups. I think you're going to start seeing this with every one of these type of releases. Every time somebody's going to tease something, there's going to be some kind of AI rendering out there. In fact, I think it's a marketing technique that can be followed regardless whether this is a Swatch X something. I never was into predicting. People always ask me to predict. What do you think is coming out of Watches and Wonders? And I've always told them, listen, I'm not looking to predict. What is the point of predicting something? But perhaps it may be time for me to change my tune strictly from my marketing perspective. I still find it to be a positive thing among young collectors. What that does is it takes the young generations and brings them into our world, our wonderful world of watches.
Yeah, great for watch collecting again, and bringing folks into watch collecting. I agree with that. It's a win for Swatch, win for watch collecting, and expanding the hobby. Keeping it, vibrant to where it is now. Again, that's the AP saving the watch industry theme. But the difference with Omega is those prices on. As Roman knows, the retail prices on the Omegas are a lot substantially lower than an AP. So you could see somebody, they're still what, 8,000-9,000 for a Speedmaster, plus tax. Still not, insignificant by any stretch, especially for a young person who got a Moon Swatch to come up with $9,000-10,000. But it's an easier reach for that. That's a few paychecks if they start out in a professional career, if they're in banking, lawyers, doctors, whatever it is, engineers or other, just save some paychecks along the way. And in a year or two, you can perhaps get enough money and beg, borrow, and steal. Who knows? Instead of getting 10 flat screen TVs or Pokemon cards, get a Moon Swatch. But AP is like 3 or 4x that. So not as easy. Much more expensive.
Problem is, most of the guys that are camping overnight for 3 days now, they're not doing it for the purpose of buying this watch, enjoying it, and keeping it. They're doing it for the purpose of reselling it. They figure they're going to camp overnight, spend $400 and sell it on the secondary for $3,000-4,000 immediately. Sorry, that's not what this is about. For me, it's about taking someone at an affordable price and bringing them into the world of watches, high-end watches as a new collector. Is there a possibility of a decrease in interest in the Royal Oak line? Yes. I know a lot of AP collectors personally that this thing rubbed them the wrong way. It really, really did. It happened in Omega as well. Maybe not on such a big of a level. Like anything else, time will show. I'm still of the opinion that one market has nothing to do with the other. I think this was a great move both for AP and Swatch.
Okay, here we go. So how many we got here? Oh, good. We're keeping our crowd consistent. I'm going to keep it with this picture here. So yeah, Roman makes good points. Time will tell. Agree with that. And he knows, I mean, he's an AP guy and super knowledgeable about, AP, and obviously knows a shit ton about the market and collectors that he speaks with. So good thoughts there. Once you see it, El Capitan, respetos. Thanks. Once you see it, appreciate you. Basil's again, Boulevard Royal Oak. Yeah, there's so many Royal Oaks. Again, there was that whole theory of, and it's not a theory, it's a fact of expiration of patents, trademarks, copyrights of the design, and they needed to do this. I don't know about that. I don't know. Nobody really knows unless you're at the board of AP and you're privy to confidential information, and you're going to violate your duties by telling somebody about that confidential information. So it's all speculation at this point. I guess AP was involved in some court cases where they lost, but you have the Casio, same design, octagon shape. They called it the Casio, for God's sake. Boulevard Royal Oak. So if another company comes out with the octagon design, it's not the same thing. So is AP trying to beat them to it or establish some sort of, hey, we have rights to the octagon shape because we blew this out to millions of people? Is that part of the strategy here? Maybe. I don't think so, but again, it's a theory, not a fact. Nobody, unless you're in the inner confines of AP, and dealing with their legal teams, when the marketing teams, when this thing was launched and agreed to with Swatch, you really don't know whether that had anything to do with it whatsoever. And again, I go to the Cassiope and Basil's. Is there a Bulova Royal Oak already out with an octagon shape? Not a Royal Oak, but the same octagon shape. It's already out there. So are they trying to preclude that? I mean, the Royal Oak's been around since 1972. So that's already been 50 years or so. If I don't know. I don't know if that theory holds any water. All right, let's keep going. Vimal, how many Royal Oaks are in luxury bizarre vaults and sales calls have stopped? Well, I don't know about. I don't know. I think that there's probably been a pause. I know that on a subsequent show with Roman and Adrian, they did talk about that. That some collectors, and he is honest about it here. He's forthright and transparent in saying, and I own one Royal Oak. I said it to you. I said it right now. I am holding off. I've always looked at adding a Royal Oak or a Royal Oak offshore, or trading my Royal Oak for a more special Royal Oak, like the open worked double balance or something like that, or a 15 or 16202, or the owl. There's so many I like. I'm on pause. I have my Royal Oak. It's in the collection. It's not going anywhere right now. Could over time, if AP's brand is really disintegrating, if you will, could that? I mean, I'm on the registered for a Vacheron Overseas Blue again, the newer model with the tapered bracelets, a little bit thinner. The three-hander. If I get that, because that blue dial is incredible, do I need the Royal Oak? The VC is much more versatile, and VC didn't do this collab. So I don't know. Is that an elitist view that, I don't want to wear a watch that millions of people have something that's an homage to, or it's not even an homage, that a plastic version of, or biosymmetric? I don't know, but I'm getting one of these or two of these. And it sounds silly to say, but the Blancpain Swatch that I have, I really never, I appreciate the 50 fathoms, and I appreciate the other models that they have at Blancpain. What is it? The other one, the 50 fathoms, is it the Aqua, whatever it is. Anyway, it's really the 50 fathoms they're known the most for, but I never really had an urge to get one because I'm more of a Rolex guy anyway for the sub. But the Blancpain watch scratches the itch anyway. I'm very happy to have that watch. It does not in any way want me to get the other one. But I do want these. And I think these are 42 millimeter, and that's what I read originally. I've been hearing folks on YouTube or wherever else saying they're 44 millimeter. So let's get to the bottom of that right now, if we can, on this show, if someone in the chat, or we'll see it on the AP website. But I saw 42, which is wearable on most wrists. At least my wrist or larger wrists, because the Speedy is 42 millimeter. So let's see. Out of these colorways, so we have the style of pocket watch that has the 3 o'clock crown, which are the one on the far right, the two. Okay. Yeah, the one on the far right, and then of me. So that's the yellow, pink, and blue, or Tiffany blue or baby blue. And where's the other one? Come on. Oh, yeah. The one I like the most is the blue with the baby blue. So that's the 3 o'clock. To me, that's the winner. Both of those, either of those. I like the lime green one on the bottom rung. That's in my top 4. And then I guess that blue with the orange, the New York Mets colors or the Knicks colors, go Knicks. Those 4. I know people like the black and the white. I don't. I have a black Royal Oak, so maybe that's why. But they like it because it looks the most like a Royal Oak would. And so you want to put that on a bracelet so that you feel like you're wearing a Royal Oak, even though the crown is at 12 o'clock. And there's no bracelet yet that we've seen for it, but I'm sure they'll come out in the aftermarket. I guess that could appeal to. I know a lot of people like that black with the white. it's black and white. I mean, it goes with everything. But to me, these are kind of fun. Put them on a bag, put them on a golf bag, put them on, Hermes bags, whatever. Put them on your luggage. They're fun. They are fun. There's no doubt they are fun and cool. And I would get one no matter what. Like if I have a Royal Oak, if I don't have a Royal Oak, I definitely would get one. And if you have a Royal Oak, I'd get one. So they're gonna sell. Again, total win for Swatch, except for the riots. So let's see. Let me get to Casio Royal Oak. Love that blue dial. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Which Royal Cap? This is a good one. Which Royal flop would an 80s Agassi wear? Oh, Andre Agassi. Well, let's see. He wore flamboyant clothes and had the Nike. He was always very colorful with the Nike stuff. I'm trying to think if he ever dyed his hair yellow or something like that, or orange. A flamboyant Agassi. Great question. Gotta be this one right here. It's gotta be the turquoise, baby blue, whatever you want to call it, yellow pink. I think that's Agassi right there. If you have another opinion, I'd love to hear it, but that's the one I'm going with. Great choice too for ladies as well. Just some are fun colors. These pop. That's why I'm big into that lime one, man. It's a perfect summer color. Top right. Yeah, he agrees. See? Great minds think alike, Dan. Top right. That's Andre. That is Andre. Yeah, I mean, they were all nice. I mean, I don't know if you guys plan on getting one, waiting for prices to come down, but I'm gonna go through the rest. We're almost done with Roman's take here. Again, I think this definitely had to be pre-riot, if you will. Let's call it like pre-riot and post-riot. And then I was jokingly calling it the royal joke. And I love AP. And for me to like have to say this is painful, to be honest. To even have to talk about this and have this, to have these questions come up, but they're legitimate questions. They're legitimate concerns. Is, what is the brand identifying with? And I have no issue, of course, the rap stuff, them branding with cause, with them branding or co-branding, with the Travis Scott. I mean, that's all cool branding stuff, but they're not taking their watch and replicating it and making 1 million watches with AP on the dial. To me, that's big. To me, that is big. That is big. This is an AP watch. It says AP right on it, and Swatch doesn't own AP. And I know that's raised other speculation. Is that something coming down the road? Because if they're going to do this collab, I don't know. I have no idea. But certainly they did this. So I guess stay tuned. If the AP family is selling out to Swatch, stay tuned.
Business is going to continue as usual. So for those of you that perhaps are not as familiar with Royal Oaks and what the pricing is on the market now, click the link below. You can check them out on our website and you can actually see what kind of a gap you're really looking at between this Royal Oak Pop collaboration versus what they're actually selling for.
The gap is, huge.
And let me know in the comments your thoughts. I'd love to read them. I'd love to hear from you because, again, what I said is simply opinion. Other than that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. I mean, it's all opinion at this point because it's going to take, again, years to play out. I mean, look what happened to Hublot. Just got attack after attack after attack from social media influencers, and it's been a steady road to nowhere. Not good. All right, we can click off that. That's covered. Now I'm not going to play anything on the Teddy. It's one of Teddy's colleagues talking for 10 minutes about everything you need to know about the Royal Pop. We don't need to watch that. You can go to Teddy's channel. That was 12 days ago. Let's see what else. Oh, okay. So now I want to pull up. Let's see. let me link up two more things. Thanks for everybody for joining or staying with me on the show. I don't see GMT's not here. No surprise. I know he's busy working. Again, open invite. Basil's, you want to jump on? Tan, I know you're otherwise busy, I'm sure, but appreciate you in the chat as always. Vamal, always interesting to hear your take. You have a lot of knowledge on this stuff, Royal Oak and otherwise. Let me share two more things. Okay, I'm going to go to eBay. Here we go. All right. So I'm looking at the eBay Royal Flop Fleabay sales. These are not legitimate. All these bidding ones mean nothing. Now this one, $1,200 for this blue oct watch in hand. Okay, 1,200 or best offer 10 watchers. Okay, so 1,200. So you're at 3x. You're at 3x because this is one of the $400 models. Let me open this thing up. I happen to like this one. Good news. Yeah, see, it's kind of cool. I like it. If they made a bracelet for that, I think it would be a fun color, nice summer color too. Right in time, right? Perfect timing, right? See if you guys are seeing that because I popped out. No, you're not. All right, no problem. Let me go back. All right, you guys are just seeing this, so I can't open it and see it bigger. So I can. Oh, I can do this though. Here we go. $1,200 for this guy. All right. So somehow they got one. I don't know where they got it because I know Japan was selling them because I spoke to I guess Marcelo, who has no influence whatsoever. The guy can get a Le Mans, he can get a Plutona, he can get a Smurf, but one thing he cannot get is a Royal Pop. He cannot get a Royal Pop. I told him, you guys are going to corner the market in Japan. Okay, here, this one's a bidding one. So none of these prices I can take seriously because it's an auction. So until these auctions are closed, it means nothing. Now here's a limited. Here's an Ocho Negro. I don't know why they're saying limited edition. They're not limited editions as far as I know. So this is the white and black. This is the there's the Lapine and some other pronunciation for the pocket watch style. Again, I think they're 42 mil. I've seen people talk about them as being 44. That is, I want to say that is not true, but I need to confirm once again. And I have the Swatch website where I can go to confirm that. In a second, let's just go through more real pricing. Here's one for $1,425, the Otto Rosso. I do not like this one, but it's available, $1,400. Here's the green, $1,150. So this is around in line with the 1,200, 3x. So these will be dropping, I'm sure, once more of them come out. Okay, Ocho Negro, $2,500. So this one looks like a legitimate listing. $2,500, not an auction. Here you go. So that is 6x, $2,500. Definitely not worth it. Definitely not worth it. I could see if you wanted to get one quick and didn't want to wait 6 months, maybe paying 2x. Still a lot of money. Maybe paying 2x, but not $2,500. Bids I can't look at. $1,380 for the one I want. All right, so this is coming down. Hopefully, this is $1,380. So we need to get more of these watches in people's hands, and we need AP to tell a Swatch to tell us how that's going to happen. How are people buying these watches now after the launch date fiasco and disaster? Does anybody know? Has Swatch said anything about how they're selling them? Because given the low amount that's in the public for sale, for the gray sales, these prices aren't crazy high they're high, but they're not crazy high for $1,380 for this one. And I don't know where this, let me see if I can look at where this sale is here. Some of you guys are oh, Cupertino, California. So maybe there was a store open up in California. There's one Lanba, Royal Pipe Pop Lanba ready to ship. So Lanba, I think that's for the colorways in, if anyone knows what language that is Lanba Thai, Malaysian? I have no idea. Lanba. Here's one, $45.99. You guys seeing this, or am I in a $4,600? So around $4,000, $3,900 for the blue on blue and baby blue, $4,000. That's insanity to get these. Again, a lot of that is why? Why? Because Swatch screwed up the release and haven't sold the initial drop. And now people are getting absolutely destroyed. Here's the black and white, $1,650. Here's a listing. Buy it now for $1,159. So you guys get the gist. Who knows what prices here are real, what's fake? But it looks like here's one with the red on pink, $1,074. That's not bad. That is not bad. It's a lot of money, but for us, for collectors, again, these are geared towards younger folks that don't have a lot of money yet, and $400 or $420 is a a decent chunk. $1,074, while it's still a lot of money. If you're an AP Royal Oak collector, this is nothing. If you own Patek, Vacheron, and you really want one of these for the summer, you jump the line, you buy it. But the ones that I like are looks like they're $4,000. I have no idea. Or they're in bidding auctions. And the prices will come down if these get into the hands of the folks that want them. Here's another blue one, $4,600. Who's buying that? This is the Lanba. This one I like. So this shows all the colors. Yeah. Anyway, I think I have one last tab. We'll go through this. Guys, hold on. I got to pause you guys for 1 second. I hate to have dead air, but I have to focus on something here. Sorry. I'm trying to buy a Royal Pop. No, I'm just kidding. Oh shoot, it's almost 10 o'clock here. All right, just hold on. Bear with me. All right, I'm back. Okay. So it's tough because I can't really bounce anything off of folks. I don't know if anyone agrees with anything that I'm saying, thinks that I've jumped the shark, I'm out of my mind. All true. Craziest trend has 2026 have completely forgotten Cartier releases. Cartier Crash is doing well in auctions, but current catalog 15 millimeter fame, 15 minutes of fame is done. Okay. Yeah, the Crash is hitting insane prices. I'm always a fan of that auction results stuff. I love those shows. Whether it be Adam Golden at Menta talking about auction results, and they always talk about how there was some Cartier that was not a Crash. They had no idea why it fetched some astronomical price. They couldn't figure it out. I think he was with may have been with one of the Davidoff brothers, but I love their take on auctions and seeing the craze in Cartier continue without question. I also know that the VC overseas have been creeping up in price as well. Some of those the Blue Dial overseas have come back. We'll see. Mobster. Wait till the fakes hit the market. You literally will never tell the difference. I didn't want to talk about that, but I've thought about that. That who's to stop the Chinese, the Chinese fakers for basically replicating the fake? And who really cares about whether it's a System 51 movement? It's mechanical. and it's it's hand wound. It's not even automatic. So it's a hand wound movement. Who cares? I don't want a hand wound movement. If I want one of those, I want a quartz movement. I want an alarm clock because I can put it on that stand. I don't have to wind it. It'll keep the time forever or until the battery dies if it's a quartz. Um, how about giving me an alarm? I'll set it up, you put it at work, I'll wake up to the damn thing. And that way AP will be in your face and Swatch, the first thing you do when you wake up. How about that? Maybe they should consult with me before they do these things. But I guess they want to introduce a mechanical movement. The watches are going to be on people's bags, the Hermes, Hermes bags, and never be wound. They're going to be stopped and they'll be set at 10:10 and that'll be it. So unless you're wearing it on wrist, and we'll see. But yeah, fakes are a thing because you could do a fake, do a knockoff, and I'm not advocating this, and we don't, copyright, all that infringement is bad, and I wouldn't recommend or advise anyone or be supportive of anyone who buys a fake watch. But that being said, if I were to do one, let's say it's not fake, if I were to do one of these collabs, I would do it in quartz. I would put an alarm clock on it. I'll put a case on it, whatever. And sell the thing out, make a fortune. That's what I would do. But yeah, who knows? I'm waiting. I was wondering, don't people do that though? They knock off leather goods all the time. So I think they would have a field day with this and probably charge even much lower than $400. And why wouldn't they do that? Because it's that seems to be a cash cow. Anyway, nothing in Toronto. The stores have sold everything they have the following day. To who? So people showed up the next day and walked in and they said, thank you very much. And there was no, no mob scene, no nothing. They just walked in and said, thank you, I'll take it, after no one was allowed to buy anything that day. I don't know. I don't know. Cap, what's the meaning of life in an overwhelming anti-commie? Yeah, I don't know. Me and Famala have purchase order in China already. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't speak to that at all. We're going to make millions. Okay. I mean, someone will. Someone will. Because they're not going to be able to shut those places down, I don't think, too quickly. But I guess, if they confiscate the product, that's a problem for them. But again, not getting into fakes and things like that, which we don't believe in anyway, right? But quartz alarm clock, that would be cool. Too funny. So let's see. I had one other thing to share here. I like it. Next time I'll try to get like 10 different screen shares because it makes life better. Here we go. Boom. All right. So here's the Royal Pop on their website. Look at that. Front and center. I wanted to point out, to direct your attention to, if this thing starts again after this. Okay, you guys get the gist. Clearly, Audemars Piguet, blah, 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 Royal Pop, AP, accessories, store locator, breaking the rules, fine watchmaking. Okay. Breaks the rules of watchmaking and disrupts the traditional way of wearing a watch. Yeah, so they clearly are marketing this and thinking that these are going to be worn around on a lanyard, on a bag, on the stand, whatever. And I'm sure they knew, or they should have known. They're gonna ultimately be on wrist. We haven't seen that yet, though. We kindly ask you not to rush to our stores in large numbers to acquire the product. The Royal Pop collection will remain available for several months. So several months. Hopefully more longer than that. Hopefully several years so everybody can get one. Cannot be accepted. Sales may need to be paused. So if they pause them and then people are going back and just getting them when they have them, well, that's a good sign, I hope. Pocket watches, blah, blah, blah. Hand wound System 51. Dash of pop art energy, 2 unique styles. Lepine Savonnier or Savonnier. How do you pronounce that? Savonnier, Savonnier. Lepine Savonnier or Savonnier. Discover the collection. We went through it. Here we go. Now here are the names. Odoroso. That's something red, right? Hui Blanc. There's white. Green 8. Okay, that's green. Oh, these are all 8. That's what they're calling it. Hui Blanc, right? 8. Blau 8. This one I like. On the right. Here we go again. Colorful, green. Green might be all right. There's the white and black, boring. Orange Hachi. I like that one. Really cool looking blue. And that's that. Yeah. Anyone knows of where I can get one of these things at retail, reach out to me. I'll take it. I will take it. System 51, bioceramic, blah, blah, blah. Where are the specs? Because now we can answer this nagging question in terms of the lanyards they're selling. You can keep the lanyard. You can keep the lanyard. Come on. Let's go. Same thing. Where are the specs, guys? Where are the specs? Water resistance to 2 bar. Do not wear this in water, right? Here we go. Features. Oh, here we go. Specs. 40 millimeter. I think that's what you said, Bamal, right? 8.4 millimeters thick, 40 millimeter diameter. People are saying like 44. I don't know what they're talking about on the internet, on some of these shows. Cask and leather, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's all we need to know. Mechanical, 2 bar, water resistant, blah, blah, blah. Features a pink dial to pieces. Okay, good. All right, 40 millimeter right on their website. Let me, you know what? Let's do this. I want to make sure. So I want to double check. Let's go to the specs on this one. Okay. 40 millimeter, 8.4. Perfect. That is like the perfect dimensions for this watch. Yep. There you go. All right. I'm closing that out. We've been hanging firm. Thanks for hanging on for this long. Fred, welcome aboard, Fred. Katanaj, sure. I can't pronounce that name. I don't understand it. Is Fred again? $29. $29. There you go. 12-month wait. Oh, this is a Qdoki. Menta. Qdoki. Is that the new Qdoki? Because I saw that one at Watches and Wonders. They had a third Qdoki. Or that's the Qdoki 1, it looks like. I didn't open up your link. I think I'd have to open up the YouTube to click on your link. Yeah. Yeah, I can't open up your link on here. Yeah, Qdoki is very cool. There's an alternative, by the way, to the some of those independent brands we were talking about in the private chat. In JJ Gentleman Hangout. Shout out to the Gentleman's Hangout. Guys, subscribe to that channel if you haven't already. Like, subscribe. Been with JJ and those guys since inception, basically, back in early COVID days. I do my thing on this channel. We got 20 people in the room. This is a record now. Now what do? I'm out of material. I feel like a stand-up comic that has no material. No material. Anybody in the chat have any, I guess, watch questions? I could always try to pull something up. Watch Hangout, Gentleman's Hangout. Right, Gentleman's Hangout. No, Gentleman's Hangout is what it was called. And then there was the rebrand to Watch Hangout. And I think it's the Watch Hangout. Let me go. I should know this, having been on this show as a panel member for a long time. Oh, look, I'm watching myself. It just came out. The Watch Hangout is the official name of the show, of the channel. But we do call it Watch Hangout. It's a lot simpler. Look, I'm talking to you guys, and then I'm looking at my phone of me talking to you guys. How weird is that? All right. Hour and 20. Okay. All right. Can't have dead air, guys. Cannot have dead air. Let's see. I'm going to probably wrap this up. We've gone an hour and a half, almost 10 o'clock, which is perfect. I hope this was somewhat informative, maybe somewhat entertaining, though we've had more entertaining shows. You know, when GMT or others jump on, it's always fun and hijinks. Isn't that what this is about? Fun and hijinks. Cap, thoughts on the OEM service? Oh, here we go with the service costs. We're showing out deals on the secondary may not be one if you add service costs. I don't know. I mean, the problem I have with service costs is where the hell do you go with a Rolex? I still have no idea. I have people ask me, "Hey, where should I service this Rolex?" And it's like, it's almost impossible to answer the question. It's like, well, I know some local people that I do trust them. I think they use Rolex parts, but they're kind of expensive. Or you could take it to Rolex, roll the dice. I think you'll actually get a better deal at Rolex and peace of mind. But that works with modern watches. There's always that issue of taking an older watch and you want the original bezel, you want the original dial, you don't want them to replace original part, original bezels and dials and things like that. But there's no guarantee that they won't, from what I understand, unless you have a good relationship, or they don't even want to be bothered because they'd rather just sell new watches. And if I code my AD, which I have, with a watch I didn't buy from them, and say, hey, I'd like to service the watch. I mean, yes, they would take it in for service, but it's always a struggle. It's like, oh, it's working fine. We pressure test. It's like, no, I'd like to have it serviced. I think you're better off going to Rolex unless you're concerned about originality and they use original parts. We know that Rolex will use original parts, but if you want to maintain the original parts of your watch, if it's like from 2000, there's a serious question about, do you go to Rolex or do you go to your trusted, guy or gal or independent, repair shop, to have them service it. And they utilize, hopefully, the Rolex parts, the Rolex oils, whatever else they need, all Rolex parts, because you don't want to have anything that's not original parts in your watch. I had a Sea Dweller. There was an issue with my Sea Dweller too. It was crazy. There were two different dealers basically claiming that it failed a pressure test, which, by the way, I had when I got the watch a year ago, and the other saying, no, my machine says it's perfectly fine. And they were saying that because the Sea Dweller has the helium escape valve, they don't know if it was the helium escape valve or the crown that was somehow compromised and causing the failure of the test. And I'm like, I bought this watch from a great dealer that certified it and gave me the printout of the water test, the water pressure testing. And on that information, I'm going in the water with it. And so if there was any sort of issue, whether it be with the helium escape valve or the crown or gaskets or something like that, that's not on me because they're selling me the watch. So it taught me a lesson, because ultimately the person who sold me the watch bought it back, because he said, "Oh, whatever you're hearing about needing to send it to Rolex for a service is bullshit." And if I sent it to Rolex for a service, personally, I'd be concerned that the bezel would be replaced or the dial would be replaced. Even if I was given assurances, no, that won't happen. If it goes back to Geneva, who knows? So again, I don't know if costs are that bad. I really don't think Rolex costs are that bad to service your watch, because you don't need to service a Rolex, until like 10 years in. Now, if it's not new, or you didn't get it, from the AD, that's a different story. Mobster, thank you. I appreciate you and everyone in the chat. And I'm going to get to you guys. A+ show. Thank you. It's I had some A+ content with AP and Swatch. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Oh, GMT. Oh, we love GMT. Modernism from what year? I think that gets into, modern as is in ceramic. Let's start with that. Maybe a ceramic Rolex would be considered modern. I think neo vintage is probably 20 plus years old. So 2020 or so, around there, probably would be neo vintage. 2000, I'm sorry. 2000, because 2026, subtract 25 years, you're at 2001. So let's go 25 years. Let's use that as the benchmark. So you're at 2000, somewhere around there, would be neo vintage. Or you can use if it's a Rolex, ceramic would be a modern piece versus aluminum bezel. So that could extend to 2000, I don't even know, 8, 9, or 10. Approximately. I don't know if that answers your question. Hopefully it does. Cap, Rolex is fine. That's true. 1,000,000+ units. To where is JLC or VC? You trust a local guy to have that's the OEM components. Oof. That's a brutal question, because I had my AP serviced by the local guy, but that was a guy recommended by a guy who had AP parts. I had it done, but you know what happened there? The cost was exponentially higher than if I sent it to AP. So again, I would lean towards sending it to the brand and have them service it. I had a VC serviced at VC. It was not that expensive. I was shocked, actually, when I dropped my overseas twice. VC built a place in where is it, Texas, where they service VCs and other brands as well. But they only have their highest end watchmakers or certified at the highest levels. There's only a select few that can service VCs. It was not bad to service my VC at their Texas facility. And you mail it in, the process is simple. And so that's the direction I would go. If I had to do it over again, my AP would probably be serviced at AP. I'd risk losing the date wheel. But I think it just erases all doubt when you have the brand certify it. I think that's why the CPO is important. But if you personally see, I know the independent watchmakers near me. I've seen their facility. I've seen their accounts. They say we are authorized by Rolex and AP and blah, blah, blah. And I still don't fully 100% believe it, unless I was like working for them. They showed me the screens, but I can't. It's hard to get comfortable with any of these guys. So that's my issue. And I spent a lot of money on an independent. So I do think independents charge a lot of money. At least my guys do. But they were servicing an AP and probably trying to rip me off. And they probably did. I still got my annual clock. Okay, that's yeah, of course. I don't service these unless you have to. I mean, hey Cap, great show. Hey Steve, shout out to Steve at Leaf Cigars, man. We love Steve. Steve's awesome. We may be getting together for a barbecue. I think he's graciously said he would host and prepare. Of course, we'll all kick in and share costs and whatnot. If it happens, I hope it does, and we get folks from the tri-state area to head on over to Leaf Cigars if that's still happening. I think it's highly unlikely that. I think it's a nice venue to do it there, actually, if that's something that JJ and Steve. So again, show sponsor of the Watch Hangout, formerly the Gentleman's Hangout, the Watch Hangout, Leaf Cigars, Bayville, New Jersey. Hit it. Get those stogies. Summer's coming. Summer's here. Official start of summer. Happy Memorial Day weekend to everybody. Hope you guys had a great weekend. And time to smoke those cigars. The weather is nice. Can smoke outside all day or all night when it gets a little bit cool because we have some humidity issues here. AB, you were definitely late to the party, man, and you would have, I'm sure, added a ton of comments to the chat that we could have dug in on. The show would have probably been 4 hours. But I'm going on fumes now. Hour and 43. I don't know if I would want to stretch this to 2 hours. 20 live viewers, not too shabby with no advance notice. That is pretty damn good. Pretty good, as they say. Hope everyone had great barbecues, great weekends. Shout out to our troops again. All of our armed services in the United States. We appreciate you. We thank you for everything that you do. That's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force, Coast Guard, Reserves, the National Reserves, the National Guard, and everybody else. First responders are included in that. Volunteer firefighters across the country and in my state do a tremendous job as well. And so freedom is not free. As we know, I think 20 or more, right? I think 20 or more is right on for Neo. Yeah, 20 or more. Yeah, that's what I would go with, right? We'll draw a line in the sand and say 20, and the ceramic stuff is clearly not Neo. And I don't mean Neo from the Matrix. Oh, I didn't even do a wristwatch check. Wow, that's incredible. I'm wearing a cookie. Or maybe I did a wrist track. The Cookie Monster. The Submariner White Gold, man. This watch. Man. It's amazing. I still I haven't had it that long, but it's vault elevated so high in my collection. Like there's no man. I would strongly, highly recommend this watch. And I'm not saying that for any financial motives or anything. It's already popped, I guess. My only regret is we could have stocked 5 of these away or whatever because they're so nice to have. And not getting the freaking Pepsi on white gold. Oh, disaster, because that would be done. I would never sell the white gold Black Dial Pepsi, especially when Marco had one for $28,000 full set. Crazy price. And that was not too long ago. Probably within the last year or so. And JJ, I think, was thinking about it. I was thinking about it, chatting about it with folks. I don't know if Steve, Darth Simon was thinking about it. Who knows? We're all thinking about meteorites. And I don't know if the meteorite, I know the market's gone up. Meteorites are over 60 now, as far as I know, 60 something. Was the Cookie Monster post in WhatsApp a bat signal you were live streaming? No, yeah, that's a great. I like that though. Maybe I should do that. Yeah, I didn't drop the link in JJ's chat. I think GMT would have, but I figured you guys should subscribe anyway. But I don't like doing that, even if JJ doesn't care. Maybe he wants to do a show today. I doubt it. He doesn't do shows on. I don't think he's doing a show. It's 10/11. No, he doesn't do a show on Monday. He would have told me. Let me see. Yeah, no, he's not doing it. Okay, good. Yeah, I would know. Yeah. All right. Barbecue will happen. Good. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. I'm sure it's going to be would be awesome. Gold Land Dweller 40 thoughts. Ever had one on wrist? I did have a Land Dweller. I did have one on wrist. I had one at the mall at my AD. He had a few Land Dweller colors, I think. I didn't have the gold one though. I only had the white dial and the white dial steel and in 40, and it has what's the pattern on the drawing a blank on the name of the pattern on the dial. The you guys will tell me. What's that pattern on the Land Dweller on the dial? No, on the dial. So sorry, Steve. That not hexagon. I don't know. They did it once before. Honeycomb. Honeycomb. There you go. Yeah, see? Honeycomb. Reminds me of honeycomb cereal. Remember honeycomb? They still have honeycomb cereal. That's not bad. If you don't put sugar on it, it's actually, I think, as far as cereals go, it's somewhat healthy, right? But usually you get honeycomb cereal and not the one that's, honey nut that's coated and sugary, which tastes much, much better than the regular honeycomb. Bowl of honeycomb cereal can go a long way. It can fill you up. Is this Mr. Sexy? Is this Mr. Sexy's channel? G Godwa. It is. It's Mr. GMT's channel. Yes. So I say I would go for it. I mean, there's a lot of those integrated bracelet watches, but Rolex is Rolex, and Marco loves his, the one he's been rocking and wearing. So he picked one up. Though he trades watches, he gets out of watches. So you mix it up too. I don't know what they're trading for now. Is there a large premium to retail, or is that come down a bit? But I'm a fan. I would go for it. I think the honeycomb pattern looks good. They didn't do anything with the Land Dweller, which I didn't expect they would at Watches and Wonders. They left it alone completely. No new dials. They're not getting rid of the honeycomb pattern, which I couldn't remember. They're not getting rid of those Arabic 369. Sorry, they're not doing it. They may do it eventually, but that's not the way they work. That you're going to see Land Dwellers 30, 40 years from now, that lineup, just like the Sea Dweller, not the Sea Dweller, just like the Sky Dweller. And that's become a popular model because they just consistently, over 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, just keep coming out with them, and it becomes ingrained in your mind. This watch is what we do, and they do it very well, and they do variations. I'm not saying they won't move off the honeycomb, but I mean, if they're just going to give up on the design like right out of Jump Street, they're admitting defeat, and I don't think they would do that that quickly. Plus, I think it looks good. It's just different. People have to get used to it. You can't always see the same pattern on dials. Different guilloche patterns, different shapes, sizes, textures, materials. They have to take the lead, and we will follow. I know Steve, I think, on AP thinks it's fun and doesn't. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I don't know what camp he's in, whether he thinks it'll have any damage to the reputation of the brand or it'll just keep enhancing the brand, because there's I think it's just going to take time to see where this thing shakes out. I think prices are still strong, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing, and I want one, so I do plan on getting one. What's the name of the German indie you met in Watches and Wonders? The German indie. Well, let's see. I did meet Kudoki there. I met Kudoki. Was that the German indie that you're talking about? Zeitwinkel. But I don't know. Zeitwinkel, I think, is Swiss made. pretty sure that's Swiss made. I'd have to go back to those photos and see the dial, but sounds German though, doesn't it? Hey, let me check on that. I think it's if it's anything, it's Zeitwinkel. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll and see if I can see the photos. You tell me. I posted the photo and I don't even know. While we figure that one out, let's go to AB. JJ does banker's hours. I know banker's hours, right? 9 to 4 or something like that. 9 to 5 for sure. If not earlier. I wish in my life they always talked about banker's hours. You know, with those banker's lamps. Yeah, it's not a bad way to go. Yeah, no, JJ's busy, man. JJ does. He's a busy guy. He does a lot of different things. He's always got something going on. And it looks like he's going to be buying some watches, which is always a good thing when JJ is in buying mode and not consolidation mode. I'm still kind of in consolidation mode, but you never know. I mean, I could buy a watch at any moment, but I'm trying to be a little bit careful and thoughtful in the next move. Swiss made, Zeitwinkel. So even though the name sounds German, it's Swiss made. Honeycomb feels on wrist. I don't know about that one. I don't know. 58K gold. All right. Not terrible. I mean, that's kind of you know, in line with some of the day pricing in terms of the and it's a beautiful bracelet. It wears well. It's very elegant, dressy. It could be a dress watch. It's like the APs, you know, sporty dress watches. That's how I would describe them. And it's a real threat too. I think it's going to do well and take share from others because that's what Rolex does. You could just stick with Rolex, right? If you want, and just forget about every other brand. They have it covered. You know, get a 1908 for a dress watch too while you're at it. Or go back and get a Cellini. Go to get a King Midas. You know, the list is endless with Rolex. And that's why they're the king. That's why they wear the crown. But Patek is also king. Patek is awesome. Phoenician Cedar, good to see you, Captain. Great show. Thanks, Phoenician Cedar. I appreciate that. And appreciate everyone in the chat. You know what sucks is that I played that little Harry Styles intro, which Tan was not a fan of, but any intro I play that's off YouTube, they seem to strike the whole thing and within seconds take the channel down. And then GMT will repair the damage, take that out. But I like to have an intro and an outro because without that, what kind of a show do you have? Unfortunately, I don't have an outro song because I closed that tab. 0 damage. Good. So thanks, Phoenician Cedar, everyone in the chat. 0 damage. That's good. Yo, Qdoki. Yes, they're very cool. I love Qdoki too. I think bang for buck or whatever. If you want to go German and you don't want to spend, you want to go independent, pick one of those up. Or how about a God? There's so many. Corono Tokyo. You know, why get these independent Watch Japan watchmaker people that nobody knows about and spend a fortune where you can get a Corono Tokyo Japan for you know, a lot less. Zeitwinkel, thanks. Yes, Swiss made. Glad we fact checked that. The Zeitwinkel twins. Is that? Oh, all right. The Zeitwinkels. You're talking about. You're talking about the Winklevoss twins, the co-founders of Facebook with not co-founders. Actually, they were cut out of Facebook by Marky Mark, and the Fun Bunch. Mark Zuckerberg. Full disclosure, I am a Facebook shareholder. Full disclosure, and in Mark we trust, man. In Mark we trust. My opinion only. This is not investment advice. You could lose all your money. My take on Swatch AP. AP got more publicity in the last 2 weeks than the last 15 years. Yes, they did. And I like their other collabs, by the way, because they were more one-offs of like the Travis Scott and the Cause, and I liked that stuff. And I thought, they're a hip, cool vibe, trendy brand. And the problem with that is you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And I've listened to some podcasts or pontificators suggesting that it's a dangerous strategy to be kind of hype culture or trendy or following the latest trends, because if they change or turn, then you could be out. But I like the Travis Scott collab. I like the Cause collab. Didn't like the Marvel Comics collab. And they have gotten a ton of publicity in this. Everyone who didn't know now knows what they do, what AP is. Well, brilliant move on branding AP. I agree with that. If AP were to sell like products from this, I almost makes that, to me, almost makes even more sense, right? That they're building their AP logo, AP brand to sell other products, like a brand, not a watch brand, like just a brand, AP, Audemars Piguet. This is a wearable pocket watch or something that's, at least the way they made it with the 2 pocket watch styles, to be worn as an accessory or to be worn around a lanyard or to be, on your desk or like a labubu on a piece of luggage, even though it's a very expensive thing to put on your luggage. So I would not recommend doing that unless you wanted to have it stolen. That I understand with the AP brand. And it invites people into the brand and all that. But these folks aren't really going to be buying the watch for decades later, right? And I just can't see the board thinking that far ahead and being like, yeah, we want to sell to them in 20, 30, 40 years. I just can't see him thinking that far ahead, because it's usually like a quarter to quarter or an annual year on year basis that these boards and brands think. Rolex thinks 5, 10 years out, true, but this is like 20, 30 years out for these pops. So I like the fact they're donating all of the money back into watchmaking. That's brilliant. And the fact it's a pocket watch, supposedly. I don't know why they did 2 of them with the crown at 3, and then they're going to be worn on wrists, and they're 40 millimeters. So like if they made like a 43, like something that's just completely out of proportion, that no way could it be worn on a wrist, at least then you don't have any competition with kind of a watch. And they collab with Swatch. It helps Swatch tremendously. So yeah, it's great for the watch industry. Is it great for AP? It's great for Swatch, great for the watch industry. Does it hurt AP? Are collectors going to sour from the brand and say, hey, we want to be exclusive and we don't want anyone having the name of our brand, our product on a knockoff product, on a cheaper product like Louis Vuitton, putting their name, LV Swatch on another bag, does that harm the prestige, the what is it, Verblin goods, right? The luxury goods, a Verblin good. I think that's what it is, Verblin. Folks chasing that product that they can't have because it's exclusive, it's luxury, signifies luxury. Now Audemars Piguet's name is associated with a product that goes for $400 or $420, and it says AP on the dial and Audemars Piguet in the branding, marketing, and packaging. So I don't know. And I know you're a fanatic. I get it. Brilliant marketing. I see. I hear you. Even Roman or whatever in that video, I think, questions. Time will tell if the brand will suffer or elevate, and maybe it just continues on its trajectory. I'm waiting and seeing. I'm keeping my IP. I'm going to get one of these. I still think it's a cool brand. I like the brand, love the brand. But they're out there. They're doing something that Patek wouldn't do and Vacheron wouldn't do, whether good or bad. I don't know. Time will tell. Time, or did they save the watch industry in future generations, which is a great story, by the way. The story never told. Cap, is a Zeitfinkel worth the price tag? I think it is, except when I saw the lug width and those straps. I think it's incredible. It's kind of very limited, you know, cool people there. There's decoration guillotines on those dials, and I like the aesthetic of them. And I know a few people who've gotten them. They don't have enough watchmakers. When I spoke to Zeitfinkel a few times, because I just like the watches, I never noticed that that band was so thin, though, that the leather straps, because of the lug width, it must be like 18 or something. So now I'm like questioning, you got like an oblong face or whatever, like a larger face and skinny legs. You know, it's like disproportional. It's got a head like this, and like it's like a stick figure almost. So now I don't know if I'd get one anyway. I mean, but I was impressed with the numbers that they come out with in a limited basis, and they don't make a ton of watches at all. At all. I mean, production could be under 1,000 for the year, and the prices are like 14,000 hand finishing in-house movements. I don't know why it doesn't get enough attention, because it's just not enough production. But and the resale, you know, as a lot of these brands are, it's there's no market for it, so no one else is going to want your watch. So where do you sell it if you needed to get out? You know, you go to the gray market, they say nobody wants it. I want Rolex. I want to sell Rolex, AP, Patek, and you know, when it's Patek, they want the Steel Sports, and if it's something else, they're going to lowball you. Too much a good thing ain't good. Yep, I know. Plastic pocket watch. It is, but the 40 mil, if this thing starts showing up, everyone, you know, Steve, I agree. Like, everyone is saying it's a pocket watch. And that makes sense to me. Put it on a desk, make it quartz. You know, make it quartz, by the way. Why make a mechanical movement, which is like a real movement? Put a quartz in there. Make it even more of a, you know, plastic toy, if you will. You know, make it an alarm clock. Fun. It's a mechanical movement. The problem is, if they start the two that they made with the 3 o'clock crown, for whatever, and they only made 2 of them, and they only made them because they did the 2 different styles of pocket watches again, and I'm not going to pronounce them, whatever it is, patine, this, that. They made 2 of those. Cases are going to come out from third party. So if you had that crown at the 12, right, and you made a bracelet, it looks ridiculous. Like, it'll look good, it'll look fine, but again, you could wear it on the wrist. But to Steve's point, it's not the same thing. It's not a watch. It's got the crown at the 12, clearly a pocket watch. The one at the 3 that other people are going to make these third-party cases, we'll see what they look like. It could be a complete disaster, and that they don't look good. They don't look like a ceramic watch at all. And AP and Swatch never released bracelets for these because they're pocket watches, and that's what they had in their head. Why they made the 2 particular colorways with the 3 o'clock, only 2. Remember, 6 are the other way, 2 are this way. So did they know, hey, we're going to make these 2, and most likely third-party bracelets or straps or whatever are going to be made in these 2 colorways, and we're okay with people wearing those on wrists because it looks like a watch, but they're not going to do it. And is this collab over with? And the fact that donating all their proceeds to watchmaking is huge. All right, cap is 2 millimeter lug width. I mean 2 millimeter, 22 millimeter. Okay, so then I didn't understand the strap look. Maybe that was a photo error on my side. 22, because that would be a thick strap. So problem solved. I never noticed that before, but someone in the WhatsApp group pointed that out, and I thought they were right. I said, whoa, the strap does look very thin here. So that's Zeitfinkel, guys, if anyone wants to know. We're over 2 hours. We made it. Very happy that we did. See, I would have to look at YouTube. I'm just gonna kill this. Guys, have a great week. We have a short work week, which is good. Summer is here. Let's have fun. We'll do this again sometime. You will have no advance notice. You will get notifications. And no, I might give you 15 minutes or so because I don't plan these things out in advance. But clearly, I had something on my mind because we went 2 hours in a complete solo format. Insane. AB, Bamal, Darth Simon, Steve, Mobster, you're all legends. Thank you for sticking with us. Phoenician Cedar. Just scrolling through some names. G Godwa, who's been around for a long time. Terry Swiss, don't know who that is. There's some other names here that popped in. This stream will be most likely well, it's not monetized, but it will be struck on copyright grounds from that first song, and then it'll be back up. Thanks, Tan the man, of course. Shout out to Tan, Basil's Bezels. Don't know if he stuck with us. Once you see it, Mobster, if I didn't hit you, McLovin was on earlier. I don't know the score in the hockey game. Hope your team won. Oh, it's Canes. You're I know where you are, but Habs versus Canes. I think you're a Habs fan, I want to say. Great to be on again. Great to have the show available to us. Shout out to Mr. GMT for keeping the show alive. And I will see you on the next one. Until then, have a great week. Peace.